Well, good morning and happy Monday. I'm Jade Morrow. Angel is in the house this morning.
I'm here. You came in early, and I'm staying a little bit later because, of course, Macy Meyer not feeling too well today, so she's staying home, and so we're kind of helping each other out on each of our ARC shows. But what I have to point out that despite the fact that Macy is not feeling well, she still baked a cake for Jade, and here it is right here. Oh, Jade, help me out. I don't want to spill it, but there you go. So here it is. This is happy birthday for Jade, who turns, there you go. She is having a birthday today, And Macy always bakes cakes for all of us, that work this shift with us. And even she wasn't feeling well, but she still made that delicious cake.
I
And we've been
know.
dying to get into it, but we wanted to make sure that the viewers got a chance to see it. And Macy is a fantastic baker. So I bet it's going to be a great cake.
I know. And she asked everyone, what their favorite is. And of course, mine is yellow cake, chocolate icing. I don't know what it is about that combo. It's hard to find too. And I don't know what quite makes the cake part yellow or why it even matters, but it's yellow with chocolate icing. So,
well,
super
happy
excited.
birthday. And I was going to ask a silly question. I'm asking her if so far is her birthday great, but you start out with all of us. My God, that's like the best group to celebrate a birthday with,
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is from Macy, but of course, everyone here at the station is wishing you a happy birthday today.
Thank you. No better place to have a birthday than at work, right?
There you go. There you go. I mean, it's like it's your second family.
Yeah. I see y'all more than I see really my own family, my own real family. So we spend a lot of time together.
So, well, you might have to save at least your husband a slice of cake.
He's gonna be gone all week, so unfortunately.
Oh yeah, then go ahead. Yeah,
so I have it all to myself.
Sorry, he missed out. So, but anyway, so of course, so glad to be here on ARC at 10, and we have a lot of stuff coming up. So let's get started with first our news headlines. A weekend shooting in Beaumont sent one man to the hospital and another man to the Jefferson County Jail. We'll have those details.
Plus, new video from a scene of a deadly helicopter crash in Southwest Louisiana that killed 3 people.
And folks, Important H has celebrated local artists on Saturday. We'll take you to the 10th annual Art Walk on the Avenue. But we start off with an investigation of an inmate death. The Texas Rangers are investigating the death of an inmate at the Jefferson County Jail, and another prisoner is facing charges in connection with that death. That's according to the jail log. 44-year-old Michelle Lee Cormier is charged with criminally negligent homicide, which is a state jail felony. The female inmate, the victim, died Saturday. Cormier was booked into jail October 30th on a drug possession charge, according to the jail log. As soon as we're trying to dig up more details, and as soon as those become available, we'll share them with you both on air and online.
We also begin with a weekend shooting in Beaumont that sent one man to the hospital and another man to the Jefferson County Jail. Sergeant Tom Swope identifies the gunman as 27-year-old John Wayne Dixon Jr. He is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, held on a $20,000 bond. If convicted of the second-degree felony, he could face 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Sergeant Swope tells us Beaumont police rushed to the scene of a shooting at 9:40 Saturday night at Timbers Edge Apartments in the 1000 block of Pinchback off College. They found a gunshot victim and the alleged shooter at the scene. EMS treated the gunshot victim and transported him to a hospital where he's listed in stable condition. Police took Dixon into custody. Crime scene technicians collected evidence along with police while officers spoke with witnesses.
And in Jasper County, an officer-involved shooting investigation is continuing from over the weekend. Sheriff Mitchell Newman says the deputy is uninjured and the man is undergoing treatment at Christus St. Elizabeth Hospital in Beaumont. The deputy responded to a call at about 5:30 Saturday morning at Bon Ami Road. That's north of Kirbyville.
A woman called for help. Sheriff Newman, says the deputy encountered a man on the porch and he was armed with a gun. And at some point during the encounter, the deputy fired multiple shots when he felt threatened. The deputy and the woman were not hurt. The Texas Rangers and Jasper County Sheriff's Office are investigating.
And we now have a new video from the scene of a deadly helicopter crash in Southwest Louisiana that killed 3 people. According to the Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office, the helicopter crashed Friday night on Hecker Road, which is near Iowa in Calcasieu Parish. A man, woman, and an infant were killed. That's according to the sheriff, who says it appears to be a personal helicopter, not a commercial one. The Federal Aviation Administration has been called to investigate.
Well, tomorrow's a big day, election.
Yeah, election day's here.
Right, and the final numbers are in for early voting. Turnout across Southeast Texas reached more than 50%. Over 72,000 ballots were cast in Jefferson County, more than 49% of the registered voters. Orange County exceeding 29,000 votes, or 52% of the voters registered there, and Hardin County topping 52% with over 22,000 votes. A deeper look at the numbers, of course, on KFDM.com, Fox4Beaumont.com.
Well, election exhaustion is setting in. For many people who agree they are ready for it to all be over. 2 years of nonstop campaigning ends Tuesday, tomorrow, with one nation totally stressed out. Here's CBS's Elise Preston.
2 assassination attempts, a last-minute candidate switch.
The best way forward is to pass the torch.
The attacks personal.
You're a vice president.
Unhinged and unstable.
The nail-biter election is supercharging stress, with many voters on edge.
How are you feeling this election cycle?
I think, like everybody else, there's a lot of nervousness and angst.
Nearly 70% of American voters are anxious about the presidential race. Polling shows an erosion of belief in our nation's institutions. CBS News' Anthony Salvanto.
Democrats and Republicans tell us that they feel that democracy is under threat. So all of that, at the very least, puts high stakes into this election.
The stakes are high, and so is campaign spending. Nearly $16 billion, a record.
The stress is that I hope that it's going to be a fair election.
To lower stress, experts, including self-help author John Gordon, say exercise and limit time on social media.
Use it to get information and not validation. Don't tie your identity or your own mental health to what you're watching.
Another tip, avoid talking politics. Make your voice heard at the ballot box instead.
If you don't vote, you shouldn't really have much of a say. So this is your opportunity to get out and cast what you believe in and what you stand for.
A good reminder that one person and one vote can shape this land that was made for you and me. Elise Preston, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Like many, I still have to vote. So I'll be doing that tomorrow bright and early.
Exactly, on election day, because early voting into Friday, so that means your next opportunity is tomorrow.
Right. Well, switching gears, TGI Fridays filed for bankruptcy protection Saturday. In a statement, the executive chairman of the casual dining chain cited the pandemic as being the cause of their financial woes. The company says the bankruptcy only affects the chain's parent company and not the franchises. All restaurants will remain open, including the dozens that are corporately owned. The company says it will use the Chapter 11 process to explore strategic alternatives in order to ensure long-term viability of the chain. There are currently 163 TGI Fridays locations across the U.S. Earlier this year, the chain abruptly shuttered 36 locations and then closed dozens more last week.
Well, the community of China came together on Saturday in an effort to fight food insecurity while making the town much cleaner as well. Bright and early Saturday morning, dozens of volunteers took part in the China Community Cleanup event to raise funds for the Hardin-Jefferson Hunger Initiative Corporation. Organizer Melanie Powell says 2 big roll dumpsters were filled to the brim, calling the community cleanup a huge success. She says much gratitude goes to the young women who came together and organized a much-needed event for the city of China, and many thanks to everyone who participated.
Folks in Port Neches celebrated local artists Saturday at the 10th annual Art Walk on the Avenue. Take a look at the fun little tractor pull kids got to enjoy riding around the historic Port Neches Avenue. The free event drew a good crowd who got an opportunity to look at different arts and crafts and partake in some really delicious food from multiple vendors. Fun activities for the kiddos and live music to enjoy. So this is actually one of our guests we had on last week at Art Southeast Texas. Lots to see, lots to do, and we have a huge art community here. So
oh my goodness, it's huge. It really, I mean, and we've known it just in the few weeks we've been doing art, just how many artists we've had, both, performing artists and also artists that make paintings like those. So really cool deal.
All right. Well, Election Day is tomorrow, and we'll have more ARC Southeast Texas after the break pertains to elections.
Welcome back. We'll continue our election coverage shortly, but first of all, I want to tell you about some developing news that Chad Sanwell actually came in here to tell us about, which is incredible. It's November, but hurricane season goes through November 30th. And check this out. A system has turned into Tropical Depression number 18. And Chad's still here in the studio. Chad, so chances are it will develop into a tropical storm, possibly?
Tropical storm, possibly even a hurricane.
Tropical storm, possibly, and even a hurricane, Chad says, which is pretty much amazing. But the good news for us, it seems like once it's kind of in that middle Gulf area, kind of, it's should break up, and that would be good news as far as, you know, not being a danger to us. But of course, for more information from the expert, go to Chad Sanwell's Facebook page. He is keeping us updated on this developing story, and it's important to keep an eye on it no matter what, you know, because a lot of people have events and stuff. And now with that forming, you never know. So go to Chad Sanwell's Facebook page and he will keep you updated. And of course, also through our newscasts online and on air. But there you have it. Tropical Depression number 18th on November 4th.
Wow.
That's amazing.
What a birthday present.
Oh, that's right. It's your birthday. Wow. There you go. Thank Chad. He says happy birthday.
Thank you. He did it. What a great present. Well, a woman who had to overcome a few obstacles to vote says it was all worth it. Medical reporter Liz Bonus shares the journey.
Hey there, everybody. For many of us, the simple process of I voted, no big deal. We go to cast our vote. But for others, it takes a bit more coordination.
It's definitely, a scheduling process and, figuring out when is a good time to be able to go.
Jennifer Holliday spent a lot of time doing some of that coordination.
I think that having the right to vote is one of the most important things that we can do.
She found not just Kentucky's right-of-way for special needs pickup.
We're taking the time to help people get out and vote.
She found they also would let her take her seeing eye dog Lulu to the polls.
If they can't get there, then it's everything else doesn't matter. That's why we do this.
Getting there, however, only part of the challenge.
We wanted everyone that has the right to vote have the ability to go vote.
Once inside, Jennifer has to navigate long lines.
So can I show you how to help me? Can I take your left elbow? Thank you.
She then has to wait for the only option
it's got braille
that allows her to vote.
Every voting poll location has an accessible voting machine that everything on the screen is read text to speech.
Even with that, she still needs the kindness of a poll worker.
All right, you ready for me to put the ballot in?
Yes, ma'am.
And the patience of Lulu. A walk to submit her ballot, another new navigation.
Slide it in there. Keep going.
And then the moment of joyful truth.
We did it.
She leaves feeling elated.
I did my civic duty.
That she can overcome. A simple sticker that says it all.
And it was just such a wonderful process.
She says all of this is really about being connected to activities and people. A reminder to all of us of how important it is to help each other out on Election Day and beyond. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
And we're one day away from the 2024 presidential election. And no matter who you're voting for, there are likely a lot of different emotions you're feeling.
And that can impact your sleep. Mandy Gaither explains something called electsomnia and how you can help manage the symptoms.
If this election is causing you to lose sleep, you're not alone.
We call it electsomnia, so it's insomnia linked with the election season.
Sleep specialist Michelle Drerup with Cleveland Clinic says in her clinical practice, she's seeing more people being triggered with election-related sleep issues. She says the election can worsen symptoms in those who already struggle with insomnia and can also trigger sleep issues in those who don't have chronic sleep problems.
The person has difficulty falling asleep, and they may be kind of thinking about the election or potentially what the future might look like, waking up in the middle of the night and struggling to fall back asleep, or even just poor sleep quality.
Drerup says to prioritize sleep before you even go to bed by limiting social media and election news exposure, which can worsen stress and add to sleep difficulties. Also, be aware of your negative thoughts and challenge them.
Just try to stay in the moment of where things are at right now.
Finally, Drerup says not to focus on the election what ifs, instead zone in on things you can manage.
We have survived many elections. We'll get through this, right? It's only 4 years, trying to figure out what I do have the ability to control. I'm going to go out and vote. I'm trying to, do things to support others to vote. So thinking about what I can do versus a lot of what's out of my control.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The sleep specialist says to also remember to practice healthy sleep habits. That includes avoiding napping late in the day and limiting caffeine before bed.
That's more smart advice no matter what, election season
know.
or whenever.
And I never take that advice either, so.
We need to one day.
Yeah.
Well, the regular season for Texas high school football is winding down and district championships are on the line. We'll have sports coming up.
Well, 10:20 this Monday morning, the regular season for Texas high school football is winding down and district championships are on the line. In anticipation of our game of the week, Kirsten Lindquist sat down with head coach of West Orange Stark football to talk about what it will take to have the Mustangs wear the district crown.
Hey, welcome into the after party, the weekly coaches show following Friday night tailgate party. We got a great matchup coming up for you this week in our game of the week, but we brought in Coach Hickman from West Orange Stark. He's in the hot seat. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so great position for you and your guys to be in, just one game away from not only securing the district championship outright, but the #1 seed in the playoffs, which obviously is a great position to be in, home field advantage. I know a lot of coaches who would love to be in your position right now.
Well, we just put in the work, and that was our goal at the beginning of the year. Every year, you go through your team goals, and usually you have the non-district season, and then you get into the district season, and your goal is to win a district title, which allows you to be the #1 seed, make sure we're out a little bit better in the playoffs. And we got a big challenge Friday night. We got to go over to Hampshire and play a really good football team. I spent some time looking at them. We've seen them all year, and so we got a big challenge overhead. But this is where you want to be. Week 11, playing for the district championship. I mean, there's no other place you want to be in Texas high school football.
West Orange Stark is home of winning tradition. You have 112% right on your field. Mm-hmm. I know that this team is always looking to find ways to move the chains. Talk to me about this team's physicality.
Well, that's one of the things, if you've seen us in person, we kind of lean on a big offensive line. We got some guys, Denham Arrivo, Jaden Rhodes, Landon Floyd, Johnny McGee. You know, all those guys are big, strong guys, and we want to run the football. You know, we got a really good running back in Kelvin Jefferson. Start thinking about our receivers. We're a physical team on offense. We're going to run the ball first. Now we've been able to throw it as well. You know, people have dedicated more people to stop us from running, so our passing game has really came alive. You kind of saw that in the Jasper game, and we had to come back in that game where, you know, they put a lot of people in the box and we started to throw the ball well. And, you know, one of our big-time receivers, Jermichael Davis, has really stepped up and been a big part of our success the last few weeks. So it's kind of a combination of everything. If you're physical running the ball, people got to make a decision what they want to do, come up and stop the run. And then when you could throw it the way Marcus has been throwing it, it poses some problems for people.
Yeah, I know our game of the week this week is your upcoming matchup at Hampshire Finnett. They're not undefeated by mistake also in district. What are you anticipating from the Longhorns?
Well, you know, they're gonna do what they do. You know, they're the state 7-on-7 champion. Starts with their quarterback. You know, he's a guy that throws it around well. And, you know, number 11, Storms, the big tight end wide receiver. He's the anchor of their program. Number 7 is another guy that makes a lot of plays. We're going to have to be accountable for those two guys. And, you know, you talk about them defensively, they play hard on defense. Those guys really run to the football. I mean, it's a very well-rounded team. You know, they got one loss, but I think that loss is to Hitchcock, who's a top 5 team, and 3A D1. So, you know, Hampshire will give us everything they got. You know, they got us at home. They got an opportunity to win a district championship. I mean, we're going to have to go take it.
Yeah. Longhorns averaging 43.9 points per game, but your defense has been able to slow down a lot of teams. I'm talking Silsbee, Newton, Tarkington, who I know you just played last week, Shepherd. What's it going to take from your defense to limit opportunities?
Well, again, you know, we base our defense on pressure. You know, we're going to bring some pressure and play some man coverage. Hampshire throws the ball well, so we'll have to adjust that a little bit. You know, may have to play a little bit more coverage than we're used to. But you know, when it comes down to it, we're going to bring pressure, try to force turnovers, and pursuit of the ball. You know, pursuit is a big calling in our program. We're going to run to the football, be aggressive, and good things tend to happen when you do that.
Now, one of the last times the Mustangs were a district champion was the year that you guys won state in 2016. And that's when you were the defensive line coach at the time. Now that you're the head coach, what would it mean to you and your guys to pull out this win on Friday and set yourselves up on the path for a good playoff performance?
I don't think we've won it since I've been the head coach. And that's one of the things we're looking forward to, getting back to that tradition. I mean, if you go look at our walls and everything, you know, we've won districts so many, you know, a lot of district championships over the years. We just got to get back to doing what we do at West Orange Start. And I've said it time and time again, the other schools in our district have raised their level to try to get to us. And, you know, I give shout out to Hampshire and Silsbee, who's had good years. You know, Coach Smith, Coach Wagner, you know, Coach Crum and Jasper. All those guys do a real good job of coaching. But it's about us. You know, when we go over there Friday night, you know, we're going to dictate what happens.
All right. Well said. Best of luck to you this coming week. We certainly will be tuning in. We'll have a live preview before kickoff of this game. Highlights and reaction from the winning team will lead off the show. So join the party this Friday night after the late night news at 10:35.
Welcome back to ARC Southeast Texas. It is Beaumont's Restaurant Week, where they are showcasing 60 different locally owned businesses that are a part of, what eateries there are to eat in, specifically Beaumont. So we have with us Diane with Hard Bean Cafe to talk about her restaurant. So talk to us about what we have here.
Okay, so we are not just a coffee shop. So we are called Hard Bean Coffee, but we expand out and we do catering, we do cakes, we do desserts, we do charcuterie trays.
Wow.
We have healthy
Everything.
lunches, and we also have coffee.
Oh my
So
goodness.
many
that's
people think that we're
fantastic.
just coffee.
Yeah, and y'all have 2 locations.
Yes, we do. We have one in Lumberton and one in Beaumont.
Okay.
And that's where y'all started in Lumberton,
Lumberton.
right? Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, it's so cool because I'm not a big coffee person, so it's neat. But I like going into, you go with friends to a coffee shop, and it's so good to have a variety and not just
Correct.
coffee. But then y'all have coffees that I think I could drink and enjoy because
Right.
I mean these sound. I was looking at y'all's menu, and you brought some here, but they really seem delicious.
Well, thank you. So what we do a little bit different from other coffee shops is we train our staff to be true mixologists. So they're not just going off a set list of what a franchise type coffee shop does. So each month we have signature style drinks that each of them come up with. So this month we have these different ones. We have Fall Into Me to sample today. We have Give Me S'mores. Yes, we brought some for y'all to drink.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Want a Piece of Me and Cobbler Gobbler. For
Cobbler
Thanksgiving
Gobbler.
coming up.
I gotta ask, how do you make the cobbler gobbler?
So it's got blackberry, spiced brown sugar, and white chocolate in it.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
cool.
That
It's
sounds
really good.
delicious. And of course, you mentioned that you're just not coffee.
No.
So obviously, we see these wonderful desserts. I mean, that one
Right.
drew my attention. And tell me about that one.
So that's a Reese's peanut butter cake. We do small cakes for like office get-togethers or family get-togethers, but then we also do wedding cakes. We do all different types of
Wow.
cakes that you need. So we do it all by special order from our Lumberton location.
Oh wow! So Lumberton is the one but you can order it in Beaumont, right?
You
And
can
then-
order it at either location, but all the baking is done at the Lumberton location. It has the larger kitchen.
Gotcha. That's incredible too. That you started in Lumberton, now you expanded to Beaumont.
Mhm.
That kind of tells you that must be a great example of the success that you are having.
Well, we wanted to come to Beaumont because one thing that I stand for is I want to be able to give you a healthy lunch fast.
Right.
So it's kind of like fast food lunch,
Right.
but a little bit healthier version than a hamburger and French fries. No offense to those. I like those
Yeah.
too.
Now, are
But
these some of the health?
these are some of the lunches that we do. So this is one of our club sandwiches, and this is one of our fruit and nut chicken salad sandwiches.
Oh, that
In
sounds
every
amazing.
lunch that you get from us, you get a handwritten note, kind of giving you an inspirational quote or something like that. So
Love that
every
idea.
box will have that in there.
And so here we
My
have-
90-year-old mother writes every one of them.
You're kidding!
Oh my
God,
gosh,
that's
so sweet.
fantastic.
These are some of our salads that we offer. Sorry, trying to
No,
get
that's-
that open there. So if you just need a quick grab and go lunch, we make it healthy, fresh right there when you call it in. You can do it on our app. We have a Hard Bean Lumberton app where you can just order it and it'll be ready when you go through the drive-through in Beaumont. Our Lumberton location does not have a drive-through, but we can have it ready to go on the rack for you to go at.
So your mom, 90 years old, writes individually on all
Individually,
these?
every
and
box.
look at her
I
handwriting.
know.
Every box is different.
It's beautiful.
There are no two messages the same. And what we like to find is who gets what message.
Exactly.
Right.
Because you
Yes.
never know how it's going to touch someone's heart or make their day. So every one of them is uplifting and heartfelt.
And you never know when someone needs that
Correct.
inspiring message.
What we love seeing is through our Facebook following and Instagram following is people who post their messages and going, this meant so much to me that it touched their
Yeah.
heart for that day. So yes, every single one of them is handwritten.
Well, this is a special week, Beaumont Restaurant Week. How important is a week like this for like yourself, a restaurant owner?
Well, a lot of people don't realize it is very important to us because we are a small family-owned business. So we don't have the huge advertising budget. So we appreciate you spotlighting little restaurants like ours. So many people think we are just coffee, and we have won 9 years in a row, Southeast Texas Best Coffee.
That's
Oh, wow.
awesome.
Or 9
That's
years
great.
going.
That's awesome.
But so many people don't know we do all these other things. So spotlighting a restaurant like this is really awesome. And one thing we are doing for Restaurant Week is that our lunches will be $10 and under for Restaurant Week.
Oh, that's a great thing.
Right. So we're
especially
trying to give a
nowadays.
value.
Yes,
Right.
yes. Well, tell us, how can people find you? Where are y'all located?
We are located obviously in Lumberton off of LHS Drive in front of the Walmart in the parking lot there.
Easy to find.
Very easy to find. You can find Walmart.
Yeah.
And then in Beaumont, we are located off of Tram Road at the Silos location. And that's where we have a drive.
Love the Silos. Great
It's a
shopping
beautiful
center
center.
too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that is fantastic. And of course, you can be to order, and you can all the platforms. You're on all social media.
We have social media, but we also have our own personal app. So you just go to an app store, download Hardbean Lumberton, and you can order anything online.
Perfect. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for not only joining us, but bringing all these goodies for us. And we hope you take advantage of Beaumont Restaurant Week and visit the Hardbean. And of course, we might that's where Jay needs to go for her birthday. But
Well,
no,
we brought birthday to her.
exactly. That's
Good deal.
that's a great idea. Well, thank you so much for being here, and we'll be right back with more.
I am certified to teach.
Okay.
I went through an alternate teaching certification program called Teachworthy.
High school teacher Joseph Golombiewski brings 33 years of cybersecurity and computer science experience into his classroom at Northside School of Innovation, Technology, and Entrepreneurship, or NSITE. It's a magnet school located at the Holmes High School campus.
After I was ready to leave the Air Force, I wanted to continue to contribute, to serve, and teaching school seemed like a good way of doing that, being able to pass on some of my experience, hopefully make learning fun.
Golombiewski is one of thousands of uncertified teachers stepping into classrooms and bringing their professional backgrounds with them.
Before the pandemic, there were about 2,300 uncertified teachers in the state of Texas. Since the pandemic, that number has significantly increased.
Take a look at this graphic from the Texas Education Agency. This year, non-certified individuals grew to 34% of newly hired teachers, a historic high. Executive Director of the Bexar County Education Coalition says that's great news for parents.
Even with alternative certified programs, our districts are still going through a rigorous process of ensuring that the teacher, where they are in their particular training, is well matched for the classroom that they're going into.
Oh, he's a huge asset to our campus.
Principal of NSITE, Brad Abear, says without educators like Golombiewski, they'd be short-staffed.
We are a school with a focus on cybersecurity and programming, entrepreneurship. So we look for teachers with his type of background. We want to be able to provide students teachers who have the industry experience that he has.
I was really impacted by a lot of my high school teachers. I think a lot of us are. So I wanted to have that kind of impact on students today.
From the North Side, Marisa Mendoza, News 4, San Antonio.
Well, don't be alarmed if you start seeing giant robot spiders using artificial intelligence climbing up the side of office buildings. They are only there to wash the windows. Don White reports.
It's not a bird or plane these people are watching at this high-rise building in uptown Dallas.
We have the vertical robot unit, which is the robot that you see that is walking on the building, some kind of a Spider-Man, and the cleaning device.
This window cleaning robot has a name, Ibex. It's named after the gravity-defying goat that climbed up mountains.
So we combine a lot of AI, algorithm, vision, and different sensors to actually build and simplify this environment to make it very easy.
The robots have onboard cameras that will scan the window, look for window panels, and then work over those to make sure no spots are missed.
You don't need to put anyone at risk. You get a lot of data.
The robots vertically climb buildings, reducing the risk of humans cleaning windows, although a single person is still involved.
We call it more of a babysitter. But on the operator perspective, he has the tablet. You just press a button and the robot knows exactly what it needs to do.
Robotics CEO Ido Genesar says the robots are already in Asia and the Middle East.
Right, when we're talking with landlords from the US.
Gattaca hosted the US release in Dallas.
We've decided to Texas because we believe that, today it's one of the fastest growing states here in the US. And we've seen the demand here in the market.
Ibex also inspects buildings and lets landlords know where issues may arise.
It doesn't make sense that people are still doing the same thing as they did 60, 70 years ago.
It's technology taking North Texas into the 21st century, one AI robot at a time. In Dallas, Dawn White, CBS News, Texas.
Better understanding the relationship between social media use and mental health. We know that most teenagers are on at least one social media platform, but is this a good thing or a bad thing? And for which kids? Barbara Morris has more on new NIH-funded research out of Rhode Island that aims to answer those questions.
We have a lot of ideas about the impact social media might be playing, but we don't have a lot of great evidence.
For instance, Dr. Jackie Nisi wants to know, why are some kids more sensitive to social media's negative impacts?
So we're going to be recruiting a sample of 200 13 to 16-year-olds. It's going to be a national sample.
With a focus on diversity, they're looking to recruit teens who use the most popular platforms.
So we are looking in particular at Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube.
Those who take part, and it's all virtual, will participate in 4 sessions over an 18-month period.
In each session, they'll answer a lot of questions about their social media use, answer questions about their mental health, specifically symptoms of anxiety and depression.
One session will include an experimental video game.
And they will think that they're interacting with virtual peers, and then we'll look at how they're responding to that, both in terms of what they're reporting and the way they're feeling, but also with eye tracking. So looking at where they're actually focusing their eyes on the screen.
The hope is to figure out how to best help kids use social media in ways that are beneficial.
This type of study is important for getting more details on how social media impacts mental health, but that also doesn't mean that there aren't things that parents can be doing right now.
That includes communicating regularly and openly with your children and setting boundaries on their social media use. Back to the study. It'll begin recruiting nationally in January. I'm medical reporter Barbara Morse.
Well, coming up, we'll kind of check in with the newsroom to see what's happening on News at Noon on KFDM. Stay with us.
Let's take a look inside the newsroom and talk with KFDM's noon anchor, Patrina Adger. Patrina, tell us what we can expect for your show today.
You'll have to cue me.
Yeah.
I think Patrina's having a hard time hearing for us. We'll go back to her. See if I I think Jesus is there. So if
Yeah.
someone could talk to Jesus in his ear and tell him. But anyway, so we're going to go back to Patrina shortly. But first, we just got to mention this
I
again.
know, that
Hard
was
Bean,
the
Hard Bean Cafe.
sweetest story. It really,
Yes.
there's always something to be thankful for, especially now that we're in the month of November. We're going to be talking about, things to be thankful for. And Miss Diane's mom, who's 90 years old, so with Hard Bean that we just talked to a minute ago, actually, I've got it right here. She is the one that writes the handwritten letters on your lunch.
Mhm.
And she got into a car
Yeah,
accident.
she lost her home to Harvey. Then 3 weeks later, she and her husband were in an accident. Her husband passed away. And of course, Miss Diane's mom ended up being paralyzed.
Mhm.
So that's when she started helping her daughter out by leaving messages, inspiring messages on the to-go orders. And since then, she's recovered. She now walks and is doing much better and still working doing those messages. So
Mhm.
truly and so it's such appropriate that she writes those inspiring messages because she has an inspiring survival story for
I
sure.
know. Diane said she needed something to, put her in a more positive mind frame, to bring out the positivity. Because sometimes when things like that happen to you, I mean,
Obviously.
it's hard to even look at anything positive. And that
Mhm.
really kind of changed, how she
And this
viewed
one,
things.
this one that you picked coincidentally has a message like that.
Yeah.
Basically it says sometimes when God takes things away, he's only making room to give you
Mhm.
more blessings. So we appreciate, so you never look, I mean, we brought for part of Beaumont Restaurant Week, we brought in Diane with Hard Bean, and look, we were not only is her food and her coffee delicious, but so she has an inspiring story to tell. So you never know. But now I think we're connected back with Patrina. We're heading back to the newsroom. She's going to tell us what's coming up on News at Noon on KFDM. Hi, Patrina.
Hey, Jade and Angel. Good to see you guys. Here's what's coming up on the news at noon. Right here, Jefferson County inmate is charged with criminally negligent homicide. The Texas Rangers are investigating the death of an inmate at the Jefferson County Jail. We'll have the latest coming up at noon. Also, we're 1 day away from Election Day. Can you believe it? And no, you cannot vote today. We've been getting actually messages about that. Early voting ended on Friday, but the polls do open in Southeast Texas at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Also, overnight, the death of a music legend, Quincy Jones, passed away at the age of 91. We'll have more on that. Also, meteorologist Chad Sandwell says if you think it was windy over the weekend and today, more is coming. More rain and wind is coming leading into Election Day. All of that on the news at noon. You don't want to miss it.
Thank you, Patrina. Of course, keep updated on our website as well, KFDM.com, Fox4Beaumont.com. And for the latest news and weather, tune in to News at Noon on KFDM. But first, John, can we have the chance of pulling up the map showing that now hurricane season lasts until November 30th. And guess what? It is November 4th. And Southeast Texas has its eyes on the Gulf because, as you can see, within the past hour, tropical depression number 18 formed. And look where it's heading, into the Gulf. The good news is Chad expects that it'll break up itself once it gets into like the mid-Gulf area near us and the Gulf Coast. But we want everyone to pay close attention to it because you never know. But the good news is that he does think it'll break up. But still, this late in the season, we are looking at a tropical depression, number 18, that's formed. And Chad believes that it could develop into a tropical storm or even a hurricane. So we're going to keep monitoring that. For the latest, you can go to Chad Sandwell's Facebook page. And of course, he will join us at noon on KFDM News at Noon with the very latest. So on air and online, we are tracking now tropical depression number 18. Pretty much amazing.
I know. And we thought we were out of the clear. And I guess the good thing is we don't really expect much of it.
Right.
But still, rain's rain. That's going to impact somebody somewhere. So
yeah,
we'll keep an eye on it for sure.
Yeah, stay focused on it for sure. And stick with us for the question of the day. That's coming up next. Well, on our KFTM Facebook page, we asked you, when do you start decorating for Christmas?
Some of us wait. Some of us have already started. It's very
Jay,
hit or
did you
miss.
start?
I have not. It just depends on the week for me, how I'm feeling that time of year. And right now, I've just kind of been busy, so I'm waiting. But
I'm a day after Thanksgiving person
really,
to
you
start.
wait,
Yeah, I
yeah.
want to. Yeah.
I typically maybe up like a week before, maybe the week of. But we got Never by Christopher there. The week before Halloween, that's very early.
Yeah. And we
But-
have Leela West says, this year I'll probably start slowly with just my tree by Friday and so on, because we leave November 30th and return December 8th.
Oh, wow. Okay. December 1st, last minute, I put it off as long as I possibly can. Some people find putting out the Christmas tree a very daunting task, and that's kind of how I feel about it. It's so much work, and I want it to
Oh,
be
look,
perfect.
she's already, tree is up, but not anything
Oh, yeah,
else because we
right.
are hosting Thanksgiving. Huh.
Day
So
after
she has her tree
Thanksgiving.
ready.
Mhm. Soon as possible. I have several family members who already have their trees up.
Well, we have our friend Hannah, who used to produce here. She teaches at Hampshire Finette now. I think over the weekend, her tree, everything was decorated.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
mhm.
Some people are itching for Halloween to be over so they can put up their Christmas decorations.
Wow.
And I love Halloween. I'm still kind of, sad that it's
I know
over.
you are really a Halloween person,
I
you
do,
know.
I love it.
And so we even kept decorating. So, and I do love that on our set here, we didn't skip Thanksgiving. We have we have a little fall decoration
Macy
here
would
as
have
well.
never let me skip Thanksgiving. She loves Thanksgiving.
Look
Now
how
at
pretty that is. That's nice.
Little cornucopia there
Mhm.
with a little gourd. Oh my gourd.
Oh yeah, and we still have some fall decorations. Do we still have our pumpkins back there? Yep.
Yep. So we're embracing fall here, but we'd love to hear from you. You can find that the question of the day on our Facebook page, the KFDM Facebook page, and if you got pictures, we'd love to see them too. So
Exactly. And remember, tomorrow is a big day. It is election day. Early voting ended Friday. You can't vote today, but you can get ready to make a plan for tomorrow, 7 to 7, all polls, and you definitely don't want to miss out. Might rain a little bit, but I think it's definitely doable.
Right.
So thank you so much for joining us on this edition of ARC Southeast Texas at 10. I was glad to be a guest on this show. Stayed a little bit late, but had lots of fun. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.